Okay, is there a quick fix? So this is conversation is going to be more about reframing our mindset on foods rather than talking about what we should or should not eat for a quick fix, and if quick fixes exist and what they are. Um, so first of all, what does a quick fix mean? Just a few things that people tend to think of when they think of a quick fix, which is losing a lot of weight in just a few weeks or months. The traditional swing diet, which promises big results with minimal work. Fancy shakes, powders, or subscription based foods, those are becoming very popular lately.
What do you mean
And
subscription bait? You mean like HelloFresh or other
Not
big
necessarily.
diet versions?
I mean like and
Jenny Craig?
I might pronounce this wrong, but there's a brand out there called like Ophelia. Ophelia.
I, okay, I've never heard of that. Okay.
Well, so it's basically these subscription based plans. What they do is they claim, oh, here's your calories that you need. Buy this package, and it's all you need. It has bags of chips in it that are perfectly portioned out. It has your breakfast,
Okay.
lunch, and dinner perfectly portioned out. So all you have to
Okay,
do
I
is,
get it.
yeah, those kinds of things.
So kind of like Weight Watchers.
Right,
Kind of.
yeah, exactly. Weight Watchers is another good one. I don't know why I didn't think of that first. Um, or supplements and medications that help. And the most popular recently is obviously the Ozempic line of medications that
Yeah.
create change without any real habit shifts. So those are what we're talking about when we say quick fix. Okay, so do they exist? The answer is yes. Obviously, they exist, or else we wouldn't be having the conversation about it, um, but not without a catch. All of these things work. Going back to, let's start talking about the first one we just talked about, which was the like meal subscription thing where here's your calories for the day, warm it up in the microwave and eat it. That is a solution that will help you lose weight ultimately. But the catch to those situations is that the food is highly processed, it's not as healthy for you, you really don't know what you're getting, and you're not learning anything from it. You're not learning how and what to eat on a day to day basis. So if that business were to go out of business, you would be back to square one. Um, and ultimately, you would probably get very bored of eating the same things. And that's what I hear a lot with those subscription based foods is it's on a constant repeat, and eventually you just get bored and you've spent all this money and you've lost this weight and you've learned nothing from it. So when you come out of it, you just gain the weight right back, or whatever you were trying to achieve comes right back. The other one is these weight loss medications that are coming out. Yes, they do exist. Yes, they do work very effectively for a lot of people. But if you don't take the steps to learn and create actual habit changes while you're on this medication, these medications are known and studied to create a huge rebound effect. Once people go off of them, they actually end up gaining more weight than they started with because their body is all of a sudden intaking all this food that they thought they could eat and lose weight, but they actually can't because they just learned nothing from it and they didn't make any real change. So ultimately, they do exist, but not without a catch. Okay, so the first part of this is frustration is normal with all of this. Modern diets and fixes always lead to a lot of frustration, which I kind of touched on before. A lot of things I hear from people is I've been on a swing diet my entire life and I've been miserable the whole time. I've spent so much money on all these products and I didn't even achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I feel like I reached my goal, or I feel like reaching my goals and dreams is just something I need to give up on. And the intention with these swing diets or these companies really is to get you hooked really quickly and get you results really quickly so you get addicted to the high of receiving fast results and you ultimately get sucked into the, oh, if I just keep going, oh, if I just keep going. And then, as we just talked about, when you don't learn anything and come off of these things and gain the weight right back or have negative symptoms come out of it, you just end up extremely frustrated and feel like you waste all your time. And that's not what should happen from food. Food habit change and diet change should be a positive experience ultimately in the end, and should be able to create sustainable, lasting results that don't feel like excessive amounts of work in the end. So the mindset shifts that need to happen. Your bad habits and your poor diets and your weight gain and more weren't created overnight. So why are we expecting to undo it overnight, right? This is the hardest thing to overcome, because modern society will tell us, well, if you just do it right and if you just dedicate yourself, everything you want and more will happen in a few weeks. And that's just not possible. It takes a long time to implement any habit, let alone a bad habit, and expecting it to disappear overnight is setting yourself up for failure. So instead, we need to understand that we've created this habit over, let's just say, a year. You should expect a minimum of a year to untie it and then create another one, right? It doesn't come overnight, and with the expectation that it is going to happen quickly, you're just going to get frustrated and give up and essentially create another swing diet situation. Okay, so some realistic timelines. I always get asked this question. Well, we've had all this conversation about what I need to understand about swing diets. We've had all this conversation about my not unraveling my habits overnight. What do I need to expect? 3 months of genuine effort and work that you have had either help with or have researched on and have put a lot of time into is 3 months minimum for small changes. And when I tell people small changes, I mean, oh, my clothes feel a little different. I can't really tell why, but I can tell they're fitting different. Or my face is looking a little different, maybe a little thinner. Maybe I'm dropping some weight and I just can't tell yet. Or all of a sudden I feel like I'm getting through my day and I have so much more energy and I'm not exhausted at night, so I can spend more time with my family. So 3 months is those small changes. At this point, you shouldn't be so noticeably thinner or so noticeably different that people are being like, wow, what are you doing? That's the 6 month mark. The 6 month mark is when people start being like, wow, you're really doing something here. You're obviously changing something. What's happening? Well, by the 6 month mark, you've already been working your butt off to make all your habit changes happen. So now you're in the sustainability point. Your habits are what they are at this point. As long as you've been putting the work in, they are positive changes. So all you need to do at this point is to continue maintaining what you've been doing. When you go to make changes in anything in life, what happens is you have a massive uptick. Positive, positive, positive. And you're like, holy crap, this is the best it's ever been. I'm so happy. This is amazing. And then you have a crash. And you're like, whoa, I just had a horrible week. I just threw everything to the wind. I don't know what I'm going to do. Then that second uptick is that 6 month mark where you go, I know what I did the first time. I just need to do that again. The second you're able to pull yourself out of your initial crash is the second those habits become ingrained into your brain. And that will then in turn, because life ebbs and flows, but that in turn will create the crashes to be smaller. So you won't crash quite as hard next time, and it will be easier to come out of. and in turn, every time after that will be easier. We are never going to say life is not going to be hard and there's not going to be weeks where everything gets thrown to the wind. But if we can get to the point where 1 week getting thrown to the wind is truly 1 week instead of 1 week turning into 3 weeks of not doing the work, that is what we're looking for, and that's how you create sustainability. And after that, as long as you're able to maintain your habits and create a support system and accountability for people in your life that are willing to do the work with you, you end up with a lifetime of exactly what you wanted. Continued weight loss, if that's what you so please. Being able to move more often and more frequently. Being able to play sports you maybe haven't been able to play before. All the things that make life what it is happen after that. But if you don't give it the true time it deserves in order to make the changes, and you try to rush those changes, that is where the next frustration piece comes into play, right? I just copy and pasted this slide from the last one. Just because this way of changing habits and lifestyles and diets is more sustainable doesn't make it any less frustrating. It takes longer, therefore you don't have as much instant gratification, and you are more likely to get frustrated. It's hard to see changes in your own body from day to day, so when you're at the 6-month mark and you're not able to see the changes because you're living in your body every single day, you're getting frustrated because you're like, gosh, she said 6 months and it's 6 months and I don't notice anything. That's not the case, but this is how this goes. That is why you need to have this mindset of, I just need to trust the process. I need to trust myself and understand that it just takes time and I'm putting in the work to do what I need to do. So a few tips to get started is you need to start understanding exactly what you're eating. Now, when I talk about understanding exactly what you need or what you're eating, I typically direct people to tracking. And I don't mean like the weigh everything out kind of tracking, track every little calorie kind of tracking. I just mean start understanding portion sizes and start scanning the foods you're eating so you can see how much calories you're consuming in a day based on what you're eating. And what's the protein? What's your carbs? How many fats are you eating? The second you start understanding what you're eating, you're going to be able to look at these meals like I have pictured and go, I generally have a really good idea of what this macro count is. I generally know if I eat X, Y, and Z for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm generally hitting the calories I need to hit. Because just like life ebbs and flows, our days ebbs and flow, and we're not always going to be able to sit down and make every meal perfect. We're going to go out to eat. Things are going to happen. Things are going to come up. Sometimes our schedules get busy and we have to go out to eat and find something really quick. But if you're able to understand what you're eating throughout the day and have a general idea of what is in those meals, you're able to not throw off your day completely by, oh, well, my schedule got messed up. Guess I'm going to McDonald's and the rest of the day is messed up. It is what it is. Because that's not what needs to happen. Or it's not what has to happen, I should say. You need to start creating smaller goals that add up to a larger goal. So it is great that everyone wants to lose 10 pounds, but 10 pounds takes a long time to lose. So you need to break it down into the week. It is healthy to lose about 0.5 to 1 pound a week. And that's with healthy exercise and diet changes. Any more than that, you're pushing the boundaries and you're going to start having some negative symptoms related to high weight loss. So if that puts it into perspective, we're creating smaller goals by understanding I want to lose a half a pound to 1 pound a week. How many weeks is that going to take us? Anywhere between 10 and 20 weeks. That's not the standard timeline that modern diet culture would tell us is healthy, but that is the way you lose weight without having extreme negative side effects. You also need to start taking pictures, notes, and start checking in with yourself. Pictures are really great. They're really uncomfortable, but they're really great because you're able to see the small day-to-day changes. Whereas I, as your trainer, your health coach, whatever I am to you, can see the changes because I don't live in your body. I don't see you every day, so I can go, oh my gosh, I'm noticing this, that, and the other thing on you, and you can't see that. Pictures can help because you're able to do a side-by-side comparison and say what truly has changed, and that can be very encouraging. Also, taking notes throughout the process is very helpful because we're not always, if it truly is going to take us 20 weeks to lose weight loss lose weight in a healthy way, we're not going to remember how we were feeling on week 1 when we hit week 20. We're just going to remember how we feel in week 20. So if you're able to take notes on how you're feeling and how things are going, you can flip back and go, wow, on week 1, I really felt crappy, and I can't believe I haven't felt that way in 5 weeks. I can't imagine feeling that way now. And you're able to understand the progress you're making, even if it's not always in the forefront of your brain. And then check-in questions. Create some check-in questions for yourself. What do you know is always consistently a problem? And allow yourself time to reflect on that every single week. My problem is I don't create time for myself. So my check-in question for myself weekly would be, what did you do to create time for yourself? Because not only is that going to get me thinking about what did I do, how did I do it, and how can I fix it for the future, but I'm also thinking ahead to the next week while answering the question and going, I know I'm going to ask myself this question next week and I want to have an answer for it. How can I actively integrate this into my life in order to improve my habits and actually reach the goal I want to reach, which is creating more time for myself? And then find your accountability and your support group, whether that be friends, families, trainers, whatever you have. If you do not have people in your corner, it can be a very lonely road when it does not have to be. And there's always someone out there that is willing to be your biggest cheerleader. So just make sure you're reaching out and allowing those loved ones in your life to come in and support you when you need it. Okay, and that's it.